One. Welcome to the GCW podcast, a live podcast covering all things related to the Galactic Civil War LARP event, a sci-fi airsoft event set in a galaxy far, far away. I'm your ever-reliable host, Husky, and I am never going to give you up or let you down. On tonight's special broadcast, we will be debriefing and talking about last week's Battlefront Mauston and all the cool things that took place. Joining me for this is a man with many names. Some call him Captain ISC 3752. Others call him 6mm Mando. Me, I call him Chris. Say hi, Chris.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Tonight's episode is extra special as we have made the Discord soundstage open to everyone in the Discord. So we will be periodically calling on anyone who raises their hand and wants to give us their thoughts or tell a tall tale of their coolest moments at Battlefront Mauston. Do you want a say in what topics we cover or the guests we have? Do you want to join the Discord audience to listen in on our pre and post show banter? Do you want the opportunity to be a part of the conversation and have your voice be heard? Then please head on over to the Galactic Civil War Patreon page where you can get all those perks and more. All right, Chris, it's been over a month since our last recording, so I see no reason to waste any more time. And let's talk about Battlefront Mauston.
Let's do it. Let's go.
You know, it's a big event because it was our last Battlefront, unfortunately. So I'm just wondering, what are your overall feelings on Battlefront Mauston, and how do you feel it compared to our previous Battlefronts, being Battlefront Rhaegor and Battlefront Bolivar?
You know, it was actually our lowest turnout for a Battlefront event, but that's been kind of the trend that we've been seeing with Battlefront events as people become more familiar with our formats. They're more driven to the LARP style events. So with the planetary garrisons and our full RP story LARP events, we've really kind of tapped into the kind of people that we're looking for, right? And they're the role players. They're the ones that want to do the LARPing. So we decided to kind of pivot and go, this is our last Battlefront event. With that said, I would say it's probably the funnest Battlefront event that I've ever been to.
Yeah,
Even though the player turnout was lower, it was definitely something where the fights were great. The teams were fairly balanced between rebels versus basically the unaffiliated and Imperials due to ticket sales. So all in all, I mean, the rounds came out pretty darn even. We had 2 Imperial victories and 3 Rebel victories, which means that the Rebels turned out ahead for the event. But again, like I said, some of the fights, even when you're losing and you're on the losing round, they felt good because it wasn't like you're just absolutely destroyed the entire round. There was a lot of give and take.
Oh yeah, they were close battles. I don't really think we had, aside from the first round where maybe not everyone was ready. I don't think we had any rounds where it was like a total stomp out. Every battle felt really hard fought. Every push felt like it was a deciding factor between winning or losing. Every BB fired really carried a lot of weight. So going forward, I hope that's something we can see more of, is those really tense fights, because everyone likes winning, no one likes losing, but more importantly, I think everyone really likes that big cinematic battle where things feel like it's down to the wire and every action you take is what matters.
100%. I mean, you were the admin that was really pushing for the class design, so we can kind of talk about how those hero perks turned out and what at least your thoughts and opinions from your side of the war and my thoughts and opinions from my side, because I played on the Imperial side this Battlefront, so I can kind of talk a little bit about some of the perks that I got to see going off too.
Right, and I did want to get into not just that, but also all the rule changes that we had taking place for this event, because we had, aside from the prestige perks and the cool things that came within, we also, I think this was our first time doing Imperial Plastoid. It was our first chance to use the new stealth elimination system, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but this was the first event since the resilience rework, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we had a lot of new stuff that we were trying out, so I'm excited to hear back from people once the official survey goes out. And if anyone wants to share their feedback on those particular rules, feel free to raise your hand, but we'll get right into that. As far as the hero prestige perks worked, and if you're unaware, at GCW, when you accumulate, I'll say, 10,000 credits, you can purchase the hero upgrade perk, where you get to not only pick a second class, but you earn a prestige perk for your first class. For assault, that was the commando perk, which was an instantaneous tap out with no countdown or nothing. You just say commando tap out and they are immediately dead. Our recon became our infiltrators, who were given a cool little reinsert beacon that they could activate and place down. And then it was basically a single use, like mobile respawn for them. So that was really cool. Our heavies became enforcers, and they were issued 3 blue smoke grenades. And while that smoke grenade was active, they were invulnerable to all damage. And I know for a fact that did get used, and I'm really waiting to hear back from him on how he felt when doing that. Our medics became field doctors, who were given these cool little field doctor boxes that, when used, they could bring fully eliminated players back to life. And I already know we got plenty of feedback on those boxes, so let me get ahead of that now. The boxes are getting redesigned. We heard you. They were too big and too clunky. Got it. I'm finding something smaller and cooler. What else? Our operatives became agents, where they were issued a second chain code skirmish chip to do with it as they please. And I believe I covered all of them. We only have 4 classes, right? Assault, heavy, and recon, officer. That's what I'm missing. Yeah. No.
No.
So, on the topic of those perks, I think every commando really loved their perk, and I'm glad to hear that, because when designing any of these perks, the goal was to not only increase what the class already does well, but also, if it's possible, try and address some other issues that we had been having, where like combat was kind of getting too slow and there were just too many ways to stay in the game and blah blah blah. So we really wanted to increase lethality for the class whose whole job was combat. I felt the simplest, easiest way to do that was just, well, let's just get rid of the tap out timer, because assault is my main class, and there's been many times where, like, I know I need to tap somebody out, but they're kind of exposed, and I don't really want to be sitting out in the open for 10 whole seconds. So it was very much a perk I designed for myself, and every other commando I talked to seemed to really enjoy it. What perk were you using, Chris? What are you rocking with?
I had locked into the heavy, but I actually never used it the entire time. I started off as the ISC, but I needed to be a little bit more mobile for both with dealing
Right.
with skirmish setup and takedown and redoing rounds. Like reprogramming a skirmish round when you're in full Imperial Super Commando armor is a little tedious.
Yeah.
So I stripped down. So I was basically an Imperial grunt, and I wanted to experience the game as an Imperial grunt would. I didn't have any thermal detonators. I didn't have any fancy upgrades. I think the only thing I gave myself was a repeater mod for my blaster, but 500 rounds running around the field. But I did encounter plenty of prestige perks out on the field. So the one that got me the most was probably the assault one, right? The commando perk being tapped out instantaneously. That's one that I had done to me quite a few times. I mean, you're really not going to see the operative one in play as much. You're not going to feel that. It's not going to feel as impactful at a Battlefront event. But we're hoping the kind of shenanigans that these operatives can do during our main LARPs is one that will be big, right? But I did have a couple opportunities come up where I wished I would have brought my heavy smoke with me, just because it would have allowed me to push a certain objective or do something that I wouldn't have been able to do normally as in play. And I think heavy was one of the hardest ones for us to decide what we wanted to do with it. It was something, like you said, thematic, and it needed to feel right, but we didn't want it to feel too gamey. I think it ended up coming out pretty good. I didn't hear of any backfires of people like, that guy's not calling his hits. I think everyone understood when it was going on, what was happening.
Right.
And it's one of those things that just felt right when I saw it going off. Like, that guy might die after his smoke is done, but he's like making stuff happen. They're just laying down cover fire. They're doing that thematic, like, I got this, you guys fall back, and then they're letting their smoke off and keeping everyone's head pinned. So it was some good stuff.
I did witness it being used once by a Patches. I believe it was during the first game. Lieutenant Kian Shea is speaking on his behalf, saying that Patches reported that he felt like a god of war. That's probably the best feeling that we can try and evoke for the heavy class. I think that's really something that we're glad to hear and that we're really going for. And I did get to witness it, so I was not up close, but from my point of view, I'm up in one of the two-story buildings, and he's over at the old Imperial Fob in one of the towers. And I look over and I can see the smoke bellowing, and he's holding it in his left hand. Now, I will say, we did say drop it like within 10 feet. I never said you couldn't hold it, but it is a active pyrotechnic, so user assumes all risk. And
You
with
know, the one thing that whenever I saw it going off or saw someone doing it, but Patches, the smoke in the hand thing reminded me of the scene in going back to Lord of the Rings with the Uruk-hai who's running into Helm's Deep with
yeah.
the torch that's going, and like, Legolas, bring him down, and he just keeps coming and coming and coming. Like that is the theme. Like we know that Uruk-hai's gonna die, but he's gonna get his mission done at the end of the day,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's exactly what every time I came across it felt like.
And I think that's how it worked out because even Kian Shea is now saying, and this is how I witnessed it worked out. The Empire had been amassing a big push through the woods on that old Imperial Fob, and when he popped that smoke, he had his repeater in his right arm, and he was just going back and forth, just keeping the push at bay. And Kian is reporting that it gave the four of us a chance to reinforce that position. So I think it's fair to say that perk is working as intended. Um, and apparently it has the side effect I had not considered, where the blue smoke shows us where we need the reinforcements the most. So
Yeah,
was
unfortunately, there isn't a faction
yeah,
color that we've done with it. It's just the blue smoke. So
yeah.
whatever it means, like you see blue smoke, something is happening one way or the other that
Mhm.
you need to focus on or run away from. So
Mhm.
it's definitely a different side effect of that perk that I don't think we realized would happen, but it's definitely cool.
Yeah. Unintended side effects, but it's funny because I think when we were talking about what we wanted to do for the Enforcer perk, um, as you mentioned, we went through a lot of options. We spent a lot. I think what held that rule back from being put out earlier the longest was the heavy. Um,
Hmm.
we had so many different things come up, and one of the best suggestions was like that last stand invulnerability. Um, and I think this worked. Fox, I did see you raise your hand, and I was going to call on you a second we finished up talking about the Enforcer perks, but it's no longer gone. You say you have a question about the Operative Prestige perk. I would bet once we get to covering the Operative Prestige perk, we may answer that question, but you know what? I'll go ahead and let you come up here and ask your question. All right. Are you with us, Fox?
I don't know if my microphone's working. I hope it
Yep,
is.
we can hear you.
You're good.
Um, how does the operative prestige help us? Because technically we can't actually disguise ourselves, so having an extra card confuses me.
All right. Well, that was
So I can jump in right here.
sure. Go
I can
ahead.
jump in, Husky.
Thank
So
you for the question,
you
Fox.
could
We'll answer it
either,
right now.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, we'll answer it right now. So there's two sides, right? So you could program that chip to be on your own team, which would allow you as a individual to go out and capture something faster because you're basically representing two people when you're interacting with capture points on the field, and that is the most basic function of that. The other function is subterfuge, right? Being able to use a different team's affiliation,
Mhm.
either as scanning into boxes or as, say, you're an unaffiliated who is a hut, notable hut, and the Empire and the huts get into some big fights, right? So being a hut is bad. If chain code checks are going on and you scan in with your, say, Perla chip or your just straight unaffiliated chip, you'll pop up on the chain code check as being an unaffiliated player or a Perla player. And that is another simple way of using that chip to get around maybe some trouble that you're in. The other part is creating trouble. And that can be done by registering that chip as, again, a different faction than yourself and then using that chip to say capture command posts against the Empire as a Hut player when you're a Pike guy. And now you're putting more heat against the Huts for the Empire. Now the Empire is getting all angry because these Huts are snatching up Imperial territory, but you're, a Pike, so that's what you want. So you're going to have this additional layer of subterfuge to really cause some chaos as an operative, and that is really to make it feel like you're doing some shady stuff behind the scene.
Right. And when it came time to design that perk, the thematic element we were going for was I had actually played through SWTOR not too long ago as an Imperial agent. So I had just done that quest line, and what I wanted, the feeling I wanted to evoke was of that Imperial agent who was maybe trying to, like you said, cause some subterfuge. So they have their second chain code card registered as a Hut, and then they go out, sneak behind rebel lines, and they start capping points, but it's the Huts capping their points. So now the rebels and the Huts are getting into fights, which takes some weight off of the Empire and allows them to formulate, you're basically causing divisiveness and friction amongst everyone else, and that's to your benefit. So that was the thematic element we really wanted to lean into. And I know that at Battlefront Mauston, you really aren't going to get much of that for a Battlefront event. But again, being able to cap twice as fast is just as useful. Down the line, as we do more stuff with skirmish and more stuff with, we just integrate new systems into the game that aren't just shooting each other, we might see really cool stuff that the agent gets access to. Like I know we have the slicing mini game, and other whatever. Who knows what could come next that we might decide the agent should get some additional perks for. So, we've always had a very living rule set that evolves and changes over time. So I can't sit here and say these perks are going to be set in stone, especially when one of them, being recon, is going to be changed. Our recons became our infiltrators, and they kind of had a multi-layered perk system in that their first one is that they were issued I should have brought one with me. I have them literally in the other room. A tactical reinsert beacon that was essentially a hard shell for a glow stick that could be, you could twist it and it would reveal the glow stick inside it, or you could twist it and hide the glow stick inside. So this infiltrator would twist it open to activate it. They would put it down somewhere, go off and do their recon stuff, and if they were eliminated, they could go back to that reinsert beacon and they could respawn right there. And if someone had come along and seen it, they could have twisted it shut to deactivate it. That perk is still in play, and we did have an infiltrator hero who did give some feedback. I believe he mentioned he only used it once, but he found it useful because it allowed him to get a really good flank going. So that's always good to hear. But some other perks that the recon had that we're gonna have to relook into is that they could pre-deploy, because for Battlefront Mauston we had done a really cool system with missions where certain teams had different deployment and spawning rules. So the recon, or infiltrator I should say, could always pre-deploy regardless of who was attacking, who was defending, and in addition they could bring 2 teammates with them. So if a mission allowed for a squad of 5 Imperials to pre-deploy to defending an objective, that number essentially went up to 8 as the infiltrator and his 2 teammates could go. Now with Battlefront being the way of the dodo, we're going to look at ways to maybe give the recon some different perks. We've got some ideas in mind. Nothing we're ready to really get into just yet, but they're going to have cool stuff, because that pre-deployment was nice, but you can't pre-deploy at the main LARP events. Once game's on, anyone can take the field at any time. So that was their infiltrator. And again, we only had one, so we didn't get too much feedback, but I'm really hoping that for the main LARPs we'll see it come into play a lot more, as people aren't necessarily returning to their bases as much. Where is that? So that was all of them. Again, only 4 classes. I keep thinking there's more for some reason. Oh, medic. I'm missing one.
Medic. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Missing the big one. The big one.
Yeah, the big one.
Box one.
The big box. The big box that everyone hated. The utility it provided was really nice. So we actually didn't have
We
any
need to
field
go.
doctors.
We need to go bigger.
Yeah,
Is what I heard.
everyone said they wanted a bigger box. They said the shape was too smooth. They said the box was too small. They said it was too easy to carry. Um,
They need a triage.
Yeah.
Triage. What do you call them?
yeah. But anyway, we didn't
Med
actually
beds.
have any hero medics at the event, so we just went ahead and assigned a field doctor kit to each side that could be given to any medic to use. The way it worked was that, again, they could set their little field doctor kit up, and any fully dead player could come to them and be revived after 2 minutes. We started at 3, we dropped it to 2 halfway through the game because 3 was just too long. So again, essentially a mobile respawn, with the caveat being that the field doctor can only get one person back at a time. But it's still very useful. I, unfortunately, was never saved by it. Don't know how that keyed out, because at one point my own girlfriend was carrying the field doctor kit. So gonna have to ask her how she managed to never save me with it. But either way, everyone else seemed to enjoy the perk, and it really helped out in a lot of those battles where someone's attacking your objective and you're not trying to get pushed off it, so you want to keep as much staying power as possible. Now, the elephant in the room is that the box was a little bigger than we thought when we ordered them. We got them off the Target website, and on the picture, it looks like just like a little box you'd keep on your desk at work to have office supplies in or something like that. And they were not that. They were pretty big. And we did have a shoulder strap on them, but that was too big, so we're going to have to find something smaller. A lot of people suggested like satchels and soft packs. The problem with that is that there's a physical thing inside the box, and we have real IV bags filled with Bacta fluid, which was just blue water, and a soft case would allow those to pop a little too easily. And those things aren't super easy to refill or get a hold of more, so it kind of has to be a hard case. Lest the field doctor fall on the kit and pop my IV bags, which I would not appreciate. But we are looking at something smaller, and whatever we go with will still have a shoulder strap. A lot of people also suggested, why don't we let field doctors create their own thing? I'm not against that at all. I do think it would have to meet some requirements. Like, again, it would have to fit 2,000 milliliter IV bags in it. It would have to be like super easily identifiable as a field doctor kit, because we had
That's one of those things where if you set it has to fit this measurement, it has to look like this, or make your own, you kind of lose a little bit of that identifiable factor.
Yeah.
If I see someone running across the field carrying something, and I know it's a medic or a field medic box, I know that, okay, those rebels are over there and they've got extra backup. They've got a field doctor over there. It's going to be an issue to take care of them. And I'm a huge advocate for the what you see is what you get component of Galactic Civil War, whether it's your armor or whatever it is, your medical droid. Like, you got to see it, you got to be able to identify it. It has to be something that everyone can instantly recognize. And as we add some of these different props and components into the game, it comes to the admin staff to get out information about this stuff, but then it's also something that I can hold up at a briefing and say, this is a field medic box. If it looks like this, that's a field doctor. What they're doing is legit. Now, if you say, hey, anybody can make it, now everybody has the ability to make it, and maybe someone doesn't read the rules and they think any medic can have it. And now they're walking around out there with a field medic box and doing rules. So it's one of those give and take things of how much do you want to let the players just run with stuff, and then how much do you want to try to at least keep a cap on a little bit. So it's always give and take on that. But at the same time, it's one of those deals where we're like, hey, just let them deal with it, just make their own, and then they come to an event, and then we don't have to transport it. And then on the flip side, you got to transport it. So
transporting them did kind of suck, because again, they're kind of big. So I rest assured, regardless, if we go with the whole you can make and bring your own, or if we go with something for Veil's Edge, we will have something smaller, preferably something that's kind of octagonal. I already know in my mind what I want. I just gotta find it. I want that octagonal shape of like a Rolodex, or like the cool medical kit that Liana and Uba were carrying, except that one like folds out all the way and stuff lays flat. I want something like that, but hollow inside with a hatch that opens. If I could find that, that would be perfect. Preferably like this big in size, no bigger. That would be perfect, but I'm going to keep looking. So I think that's it for hero perks. All in all, a net positive. The things that we need to work on, we're working on. So let's talk about Imperial Plastoid. This was our first time doing that, and again, if you don't know, certain Imperial kits could be approved to get resilience, and these were the more difficult to wear and cumbersome Imperial kits. I believe the list is Stormtroopers, Scout Troopers, Shore Troopers, and full kit Mud Troopers, meaning they need to have the goggles, mask, and helmet. Anyone with those kits could get approved to have resilience, either 2 or 3. I'm trying to think, did we have anyone in those kits? I know we had some Scout Troopers.
Had Scout Troopers, had a couple of Imperial Army, but full Mud
Yeah.
Troopers there wasn't really a presence of, so
Yeah, not this time,
that's okay.
but I don't think we've heard from those Scouts yet. But me personally, I know I have died from a single random BB plenty of times. So I think it's useful, but
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna have to keep waiting to find out once we get to Veil's Edge and some of our regulars and those big armored kits show up. So we'll keep holding out for hope on that one, but always looking for ways to make playing Imperial a little better. But that will lead nicely into our resilience reworks. You can now you now have to submit your kit to the GCW costumes email, and you will get assigned a resilience value of 2 through 5 is the max you can get assigned, but it can go up to 7 if you get like certain upgrades, correct?
So the 7 is reserved for alien resiliency and
Right.
droid resiliency.
Right.
So those really, really encompassing kits, or a full Wookiee costume, characters that are going to take a lot of blaster fire to take down. The caveat there is, when you're dealing with any alien costumes, again, it's what you see is what you get. So if you're going to go as a Trandoshan, think of like a Bossk layout.
Yeah.
Trandoshans have the ability to like regenerate and all this fun stuff in canon. But the big thing again is what you see is what you get. If you're just going to have a Trandoshan face showing and you got normal hands and normal feet, well, you're going to be lower on the resilience ladder than a Trandoshan that shows up with his feet exposed, hands exposed, lizard arms showing, that kind of stuff.
Like
Because
Sobi.
again, what we're really rewarding is players that are leaning into that full aesthetic of that character, because the more we can see, the better off it is. And it also is a counterplay on how the plastoid works, right? So if you want to stack resilience and plastoid on top of each other, you can only have so much of one showing without taking away from the other. So if you want to be a Wookiee but you're wearing a bunch of plastoid armor, well, you're going to lose some resilience because now your plastoid is covering your fur. So it's one of those sliding scales of, you can't ever have the best of both worlds. You have to kind of pick what you want and then how you want it to react. Again, the big thing is like if you have an alien face showing, right? That's great. But if you put on a full cover face helmet, you're going to lose a lot of the grounds and resiliency, just because that's the easiest and most identifiable part of an alien is their literal alien faces. So again, it's what you see is what you get. Droids, on the other hand, we all know when you're wearing a full droid costume, it is, head to toe. A lot of times, think of anything that you've seen from actor who plays C-3PO talking about what it is like to be a protocol droid, or even a resident gonk, right? And like, what's it like to wear that? Well, they can take a few more BBs. I mean, especially they're a utility droid. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, they can catch a few extra stray babies before they go down. So
I think we decided Betty gets like resiliency 20, 50, 30, I think we said.
Right.
Yeah.
I think one of the most powerful things that goes alongside, and this is why we designed Mandalorians to have a little bit lower cap, is they do get that headshot immunity when they're using that cannon helmet, which is absolutely huge. If you've ever dealt with a Mandalorian who's in cover, think of them having 4 BB strikes plus headshot immunity, and now you got to take out this Mandalorian that's in a window. That's going to be a heck of a time for you to deal with. Giving them up to 7, that would just be way overkill, at least from the way that we're seeing things now. So
Yeah, no kidding. Did we have anybody here that got to use some of those different resiliency rules? Oh yeah, ICAT and patrol would be included. Kian, listen. I don't have every trooper type memorized by heart. I actually no, I'm not gonna say that on the podcast. I love Star Wars a lot.
I'm not going to say the thing that's going to get me in trouble.
Yeah, no, I'm not a nerd. No, but I love Star Wars.
I'm
Yeah.
not, no.
But yeah, like, listen, any Imperial kit where you're wearing like a full armor, patrol troopers and ICAT drivers would be included in that. But anyway, yeah, did anybody have experience with these resiliency rules? You know, either wearing it like our ISC guys. I always want to say ICS. I don't know why. But I know our ISC guys, I think, had a standard resiliency of 4.
Yeah, when they're in that base, what you see from
Yeah.
the show, they have a resiliency of 4.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit tough because when you're designing your kit, a lot of times we try to push for the most recognizable. Like what do we see on screen? What are they
Yeah.
wearing on screen? And for them, where they lose a lot of points are basically their arms, right?
Yeah.
Their shoulders are those big, super uncomfortable things that go out, but the amount of coverage they get from their shoulders isn't great. And then they just got their whole upper arm just showing, right? So they lose a little bit of points there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we drafted the whole thing based off of some iconic characters that exist for at least Mandalorians and Mandalorian coverage. So like Paz Vizsla would be your 5, and Pure Beskar Din, where he's got his full glow up in his Beskar armor, that's a 4. And then you look at Jango or Boba, and well, even Jango is in the range of a 4, like right past that cusp, because he's got. If you look at Jango's design, if he's got his backpack on and his backplate on, that's what he's got covered on his back. He's got nothing on his butt. He's got nothing on the back of his legs. He's got nothing on the back of his shins. So you can see that his character design was always about being the one on the hunt. He's not going to have armor on his back because he feel like he's never getting hunted. So I think that was a unique design that I, while exploring our resiliency perks, like how Mandalorians design their armor is very much like, he's a great bounty hunter because he's always hunting people. He's never worried about being hunted, which is crazy, right?
And this isn't limited
But
to
then you
just
have your-
Mandos. We're talking aliens too. You know, if
Yeah.
you're a Twi'lek, you could be looking at resiliency 2 or 3. Or like we said earlier, if you're in the full Wookiee, you could be looking at resiliency 7. Which I can personally say, when going up against these rules, I'm so trained to put 3 hits on the target from past events that I know when fighting those ICS guys, I wasn't shooting them enough because in my brain I see T-bucket, hit it 3 times and move on to a different target. And that was coming back to bite me quite a bit. So again, if anyone in the audience wants to give us their input on using it or fighting it, feel free to do so. But yeah, that armor stacks. That armor, it can be tough. It can be tough to fight. So love to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
But
anybody have
in the
anything?
meantime,
Bueller?
In the meantime, I want to move on to stealth eliminations. Something that I really, really wanted to see happen, to the point where I had considered putting out like a bounty. I was gonna make an announcement on the Discord saying like, "Hey, look, if you can make one happen, I will give you 500 credits. If you can get it on video of you doing it, I'll give you 1,000 credits." But I was distracted with other things going on. But unfortunately, I don't think we had any happen. I think it'll be much more likely to see at our LARP events where people aren't quite in that full combat mode 24/7.
Yeah, that's the thing with Battlefront is when you walk into a round, you know that there's danger ahead. Like you hear the round start and instantly the in combat blurs on the side of the screen the whole time. You never have that low time or that downtime that you can kind of relax and chill a little bit.
Yeah.
So definitely during the PGR or even Veil's Edge coming up, you're going to see that a lot more.
My prediction is that Imperials on patrol are going to have a lot of issues with people that think they're sneaky trying to walk up behind them. So my advice now is do not be an Imperial alone on patrol. Go in pairs of 2 or 3. Same with Perla, guys. I'm not gonna lie. When I first when we put out the stealth eliminations rule, in my head I was imagining a squad of rebels moving through town, stealth eliminating all the Perla guys, so they could plant a bug in the Perla HQ or do something like that. So don't go alone. Don't be alone. Watch each other's backs. And also, reminder, they have to be totally unaware of your presence. So none of this, hi, I'm just walking behind you. Don't mind me. So I'm going to get ahead of that now. But I think that's it for our big rule changes for Battlefront Mauston. All in all, they either didn't come up, unfortunately, or they went pretty well. But next up, I really wanted to talk about the new mission types that we had in this kind of flowchart system that you spent a long time working on. How do we think it worked? How did it go? And what, if anything, are we going to take from that and integrate into our mainline LARPs?
Yeah, so the flow chart, the progressive battles, right, where you take the victory of one team and they move down one part of the ladder to the next round type, the next objective type. It was one of those things that when we were designing how we wanted to do Battlefront, it came down to, we've done a lot of the standard conquest and just rinse and repeat same thing over and over.
Yeah.
But there's so many different scenarios that come up in a galaxy far, far away that are not just that, right? They're, pushing an objective like the Hoth Assault or Endor bunkers or things like that. And we wanted to bring that sense of missions and tasks to the Galactic Civil War Battlefront series. But what it ended up becoming is a great way to test some things out for what we want to do going forward with our story LARP events. Having specific scenarios that are playing out at certain times on the field that we have done enough pre-planning in the foreground that we can have maps available and do briefings in camp where you get everybody on your team around the table and it's like, look at your screen right there, right, Husky, your background, everybody standing around the map like, this is what we're up against,
The
this is what we're
picture
doing.
currently on the slideshow for any YouTube viewers, it's changed now. But
We-
the picture on the
we've
slideshow
got-
was Cal holding that map, giving a briefing. So
Right.
listen,
So having that and being able to do that, and PGR is going to be another hot test bed for that, where they're rolling out what we call the canon events, where it is at certain times, certain things will be happen. And we know that this thing is happening, but as players, you have to make it back to your base to get the full briefing on to understand what the objective is, right?
Yep.
And for the story LARP events, it's probably not going to be more than a set time where you have to get back to do that. Like fall back to base at this time because something is going to happen so everybody can get around, plan, and go.
Yep.
And it's one of those ideas too when you have Imperials and Rebels with these missions going on simultaneously, it may not be the same objective. It just might be 2 objectives, and maybe the Hutts have another objective that overlaps all 3. And now you have like a 3-way turf war fight going on. So I'm not going to give away too much into what is happening, at least at Texas at 878. But for Veil's Edge, that is the main idea behind these, being able to plug skirmish into the mix and have that available for players to utilize and to visually see if objectives are being completed or objectives are failed. Super excited about it. It's kind of what we've been working through, and we played a lot of ping pong with game design over the last few years, coming up with the best way to do this. When we first rolled out, it was just like, it's always going, it's always nonstop, and it's going to be that still. But we want the objectives to feel more catered, because there's so many people that have expressed that I was just always in the wrong place at the wrong time. There was always something really cool going on somewhere, but I had no idea.
Yeah.
And this is going to be one of those ways to ensure that you have 2, 3, 4 of those experiences during a game, whether it's on the good or the bad, but you're going to experience it, right? You're either going to win it, you're going to lose it, but at least you were there. So that's that hot take
Yeah.
on canon events.
And I tell you what, it also gives us the benefit of being able to kind of control the flow of battle a bit more, in the sense that, like, we'll speak at the main LARP events, because the canon events are both factions fighting over one objective. Think like the Battlefronts, but the game doesn't stop in between. Whereas the system you're talking about for our LARPs, we could use it to control the flow of battle, in the sense that, like, if we really need to give one faction a break, like the Empire's just been getting pummeled, all right, well, let's give the rebels a hit time of 2 p.m. to go back to base, and then they have a mission briefing where they're given some crazy mission to go sneak into the Hut warehouse and steal a bunch of stuff that they had snuck onto planet. So now it allows us to more easily direct each faction and the player. Well, like you said, also making sure players are included on these cool missions, because everybody at some point has heard of a cool thing happening and being like, dang, where was I? How did I not know that this like cool thing was going on? So hopefully with this, it can be pretty obvious when the game starts, when Ben, Justin, Athens, Artie, whoever says, all right, go do your missions, but be back here in 2 hours for a special briefing. If you miss that special briefing, it's on you at that point. But I think it's going to be a very beneficial system, and it's what I'm looking forward to seeing in use. And I will also say, if you missed out on Battlefront Mauston, you missed out, because that system worked really cool. Having those big eliminated maps made briefings so easy. There were like 1 or 2 hangups or miscommunications on where a certain team could or couldn't spawn, but stuff like that's going to happen. It wasn't anything that was like derailing the event, which is always awesome. The game modes were fresh, unique. It didn't really ever feel like we were doing the same thing twice. I know once we did just do the same game mode but flipped, but again, like as a player on those factions, you're not doing the exact same thing. You're either attacking or you're defending. Even when you are
Well,
flipping
even
objectives.
even the objective points,
We're
you know,
different, yeah.
we went from diagonal from this side of the map to diagonal to
Yeah.
this side of the map. So even when we're doing the same routes, the only thing that feels maybe similar is right when you get in the center of the map and you're fighting in that core part of the town, which is also a really fun thing to do. Let's not forget that, like, when you go to Action Sports Wisconsin, one of the things you want to do is just like, I just want to be in that town, like shooting other people in that town. And
I don't
that
know.
happened.
Their
That
woods,
happened
their
a
wooded
lot.
area is pretty cool and getting cooler. So
Woods is cool. We could talk about Rookie Village that's going up.
I did have them on the list
They
of topics. The field has
the
improved.
construction
and
is
still
there.
improving. Yeah, if you're not following Action Sports Wisconsin on Facebook, go check that out. Near where the Rebel base was for Battlefront and Mauston, a bit further out, but still in the woods, they're building a whole new village. And this isn't your typical airsoft field pallet structures being thrown up overnight. These dudes are putting down foundation for real buildings. So Action Sports Wisconsin, if you've not been to this field, first off, why not? We've had like 4 events there now. What are you doing? It's
What are you even
listen,
doing?
I know what you're gonna say. Hey, it's a long drive. Yeah, brother. Jump to light speed and get there. Come on.
Let's go.
Let's go. What's going on?
Yeah, next time you go there, it's a 3-day event. So like,
It's
don't
even
even
more
worry
worth
about it. You're gonna be out there for like 50 hours. It's gonna be worth it.
Yeah. Will Rookie Village be ready for Vale's Edge? Let's put it this way. They started work on it like last week, and it's gonna be ready for an event happening 2 weeks from now. So I think it's fair to say, yeah, Rookie Village is going to be ready for the Vale's Edge, and who knows what other crazy
Which,
stuff they're doing.
You know, I think we have to officially dub it in GCW is the Wookiee Village. I think that is, even if there's no Wookiee residents.
No, we need to have at least 2 Wookiees. Then we can call it Wookiee
built
Village.
to Wookiee slaves, so we're good.
He said it, not me. He said it, not me. When they come to rip your arms off, he said it, not me. I'm a friend of Wookiees. I
need to become a Trandoshan just so I can grow my arm back.
So that is something I've wanted to do after back when I thought my character might die during Operation Firebird, which I totally forgot to declassify and publicize. I'll do that later. I was like, man, being a Trandoshan would be cool with these new rules because, like, let's be real, a Trandoshan, that's probably like Resiliency 5. If you have the gloves, arms, and feet along with the full mask, I'd call that Resiliency 5 at the least.
I need to see some calf to get 5. I gotta see the calves.
See, he
The
wants
Trandoshan
he wants to
calves.
see lizard calf.
I need to see that full glorious lizard lower leg.
Yeah, gross. But
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about the Z word yet. That is not. We have not even
the
uttered
night
it yet.
game, the super cool, awesome night game that, not to brag, more than one person said they had a fantastic time on. I don't know why I'm acting like I decided this. I stole the rules from something Sloan posted. He was like, "Hey, I did a zombie game with some friends at a different field, and this was the rules we used." And I thought, those are good. We're doing that. But anyway, yeah, the night game for Battlefront Mauston was a zombie infection. Totally not
Yes,
zombies. They
infected.
were infected with some crazy virus that made them go insane and want to eat people. We don't know. Probably those crazy Imperial scientists up to no good. But man, what a good time it was. I didn't play. I instead opted to just kind of observe up from the two stories. Holy crap. I did not expect our player base to get so into playing the role of an infected. There was times where it felt like we could be shooting a movie. The way they were moving,
Yeah.
growling, howling, gurgling, screaming, and like just lunging. I was like, holy crap. And these players who have been fighting in the sun all day are now full sprinting through the dark to escape a horde of zombies chasing them. Uh, it was so sick. But to actually talk about what it was, um, we had all our players meet up at the cantina. Liana had a cool scene to set things up, to like set the scene. Out on the field in a little protected base was an Imperial scientist who they needed to find 3 glowing MacGuffins. I don't remember what they actually were, that were hidden throughout the city. Teams had to go find those and bring them to the scientist, all while infected are roaming the streets of Ves, I believe is the name of the town in Mauston.
See,
We started with only 3 zombies, and I was a little worried. I didn't let the entire playbase go out at once. I made them get into teams of 4 because every good zombie game has a team of 4. It's like, come on. And I would send them out like about with like a minute or two in between. And the rules were no full auto of any time, no of any kind, no heavy repeaters, no DMRs. So pistols and rifles on semi-auto only. Because again, these zombies are going to be trying to get close to you. We don't want to like full auto in the face. But that plus stay out of the woods because it's just a safety risk, and also we didn't put anything in the woods, so we don't want to lose players in the woods. And also stay away from the cantina because there's nothing near the cantina. I think it took a whopping 30 seconds for the first player to come back to the cantina dead, put his gun down, and go back out and be a zombie. And then it just snowballed from there. I don't remember who the first to die was, but I know our first zombies was one of them was Patches, and I forget the second guy, but they did a phenomenal job. They were chasing
oh,
people
I'm so
down
glad.
all night.
I'm so glad Patches was one of the first to go.
Me too.
Fantastic infected.
Yeah. Um, but they, dude, again, I'm just so always so struck at how well everyone played into it. Like people, I was kind of worried, like, oh, once they're a zombie, people are gonna lose interest and just like stand around. Nope, people were going crazy, and I think it helped that what we did was we said for every time a zombie infects a player, they collect that player's like glow stick necklace and they turn that back in for credits. So they were basically getting paid to infect people. I think that really motivated people to get out there and turn some. Um, but even the zombie game was down to the wire. The teams, the survivors had found 2 out of 3 MacGuffins the Imperial scientists needed. They only needed one more. They were getting right on the edge of town, and I would watch them kind of circle the outside of town, too scared to really go in and search because of all the zombies. And it wasn't until I was getting ready to call a game for time, and when I really watched these zombies just ambush these survivors. And I know for a fact the last survivor was actually Justin, because I watched him shoot at zombies running at him, his pistol ran out of gas and he turned and just took off sprinting as a zombie is sprinting after chasing him. And I'm like getting ready to call time, and I'm like, I'm just gonna let this play out uh, and see what happens. And then I lost sight of him, so I had to call game. And the zombies were victorious. And canonically, everyone's dead. All your player characters have been wiped out. We're resetting your chain codes. You're all zombies. No, it's not canon, but it was a super good time regardless. I think that zombie game was one to be remembered for sure. I'm almost upset with myself for not partaking in it. Chris, were you there playing the zombie game?
Yeah, I was out there as Toby, the skirmish technician. But I was just, I was running around with my blaster. Me and my buddy Bert, we went out as a duo. So our goal was to actually hit all the skirmish boxes. So one thing that I programmed in and I started letting other players know was a bonus mission that was happening. If they went in and scanned on select skirmish device to get registered as a survivor, that they would have to go and scan in on all the skirmish boxes that were in town. Only a few attempted. They died pretty quick because when you got to a skirmish box, you needed to hold there for 10 seconds. So once you started that scan in, you were there for 10 seconds to collect that box. But it put us in some pretty hairy scenarios, and it made us go to certain parts of the field that we did not want to go. But it was one of those things that we ended up calling it hard mode. But again, we failed at finding that third box, so we probably would have been better off just searching for that last remaining MacGuffin, or whatever we want to call it. But at the end of the day, it was a fantastic night game. The amount of enthusiasm that the players had, because usually at the end of a day, people are wiped out. But for some reason, like everyone was clicked up to 11 when they're zombies. They're running around for like 2 hours straight. My favorite part though is not when you were being chased, but it was when you would round a corner and see 4 or 5 zombies just like staggering around town looking for something to infect. It wasn't the being chased part. It was like walking into those scenarios where like, back away slowly. In the glowing neck things, that worked out perfectly for the zombies to be able to quickly identify a survivor and then engage them and go after them.
Yeah.
There were some times where we would put ourselves again in situations like in that blue pallet shanty area where we had to go through there, scan in that one skirmish device that was in the center of it, and we had zombies that were infected that were all around that structure, like banging in on the structure and just like raking whatever against the side, and we're like, I'm too scared for this right now. Like, I am going to be in my pants. This is absolutely terrifying. Even though you knew it was all fake and it was all whatever, it just felt right.
That's one thing this event in general did, I think, so well. Was just a good job of invoking those feelings that we're really going for, of being the sneaky infiltrator, of being the enforcer god of war, of being terrified of a zombie infection going on. And again, myself and Gabby were just up on the towers watching, and it was insane to watch the player behavior change and develop as the game went on. Everyone starts out kind of in stealth mode when there's not a lot of zombies. They're keeping their lights off, they're moving slow and quiet. But as there was more and more zombies, there was a noticeable shift in how people behaved. In that, again, they're kind of just circling the outside of the town. But the biggest surprise to me was they realized these glowing necklaces, are making the zombies be able to see us anyway. So everyone just kept their lights on. Like we would see these teams moving in lines. Everyone's watching a different direction with their white light, just going, just scanning for zombies. And that watching that behavior evolve was so cool. And then, of course, if we're talking about the zombies playing up the zombie thing, I think the player survivors were playing up being a survivor without realizing it. Because the amount of times we would hear people yelling like, "Help! My gun's jammed!" or "Just run!" "Leave me!" Just stuff like this. It didn't sound like they were saying it ironically or in character. Those were like earnest reactions, and it just played out so good. And it made me mad we didn't have like a night vision camera and like boom mics just set up everywhere. Because man, you could have made a movie out of that game mode. It was so good, so well done. And we'll probably maybe do it again someday because it was so fun.
No, never again, maybe.
Never again. Only if we do events near Halloween, which now that we're one event a year, sorry, never again. It
Never again,
it
ever.
it worked too well and you guys had too much fun, so we're never doing it ever
Yeah, we
again.
definitely would never do anything like it again, ever.
Yeah. So we're definitely not going to surprise you with it again, but this time in cool newer ways. Oh, special infected. Other stuff I can say to make it sound cool.
This time with a twist.
What a twist.
What a twist.
Yep, so that was the night game. It was so sweet. Speaking of stuff happening at night, I gotta say the Cantina vibes on Friday, amazing. I don't know what happened to my slideshow. It's gone all of a sudden. But I can tell you, did I not have it repeating? Weird. Let me try that a second time because we took so many photos of the cantina simply because with the cool ambient lighting that Ben and other players provided, very swarzy lighting, all the cool card games, playing Sabak, playing the other card game, that name I forgot, that's similar to Sabak.
Pazak.
Pazak, yep. Let's see, I think it looks like Liana's posting some
Leanna's
photos now.
posting some up in the chat.
Oh yeah. I think I have all of these in the slideshow. I just don't know why the slideshow is being so difficult. Normally, I didn't realize I had been robbing myself of an amazing experience because normally Friday nights, I usually retire early so I can be rested for the following day. So I don't usually hang around too much. I'm not a very sociable person, people may not realize. So this is my first time, I think, just spending some time hanging with the crowd in the cantina, enjoying the activities. Man, what a good time. I feel bad for anyone that wasn't there Friday night just playing games. One thing that I loved seeing was people have started wearing like special Friday night costumes that are like really nice costumes that are good to wear for a convention or for sitting around, but you wouldn't want to fight in. So it's kind of like players have started wearing like their Friday best. So that was really cool to see. So going forward, that'll be like Thursday night, Friday mornings, I guess, since we're now starting the game Fridays at 10 or noon. I don't remember. But yeah, just having like a Friday best to wear before the game starts at the cantina. Love that idea. I need to figure out some cool like Star Wars versions of what would Star Wars formal wear look like? I know we've
I
seen
think just rocking like a serving droid outfit would
yeah.
be fantastic. Just
Okay.
walking around the cantina in
Yeah.
a droid. I'll make you one. I'll be
Okay.
here.
Yeah, I'll be the world's biggest protocol droid. That just put a little bit like Cyril's clip-on
What's that?
tie thing.
Was it Obi-Wan that had the lifter droid that could be reprogrammed
Oh,
as
lifter droid that just carrying a tray of drinks around.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, if you want to do a droid but don't want to fight in one, wear it to the pre-party. I don't know what we call that. Our
And then
potluck or
get
whatever.
instantly denied by the sign that says no droids allowed.
Oh, hey, listen, in the slice,
We
we're a
don't
little
serve
more.
droids here.
The slice was held by the CIS historically, so I think they'd be a little more droid friendly, sympathetic, possibly.
True. You are correct.
So we'd probably have like droids get in free. That's what we have. We
Droid night.
we have droids drink free night.
Wasn't there was like a droid bar at I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Season 3 Mandalorian. Don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't talk about Mandalorian. Nobody likes the Mandalorian. That show was a major flop, right?
No one likes nothing.
Nobody likes anything from Star Wars. This is now a Starship Troopers LARP event. So
I'm in.
Yep. I am gonna be the Queen Bug. So I'm gonna build a big Queen Bug costume that is just like
Tank Ferric.
yeah, I'm just gonna chill inside of it and like it's all cushiony and air conditioned. It's gonna be sick.
It's gonna be
It's gonna be
sweet.
sweet. So now this is Star Wars forever and always.
All right. What else we got?
We have what I wanted to get into before we
got
start talking
hands?
about. We have hands now. Before we start talking about future events, I wanted to cover one last thing, and that was from any good event, you got to have a good story. You got to tell a good story. Everyone does something that they think, and that was my moment at that event that really made it all for me. So, Chris, I want to hear your best story. Of course, you have to embellish, so don't tell me nothing truthful because I won't believe it anyway. And people in the audience, this is the moment I really want you guys to come on here, tell a story. Don't be shy, don't be nervous. Don't be honest either, because I'm not going to believe you anyway. Tell me
So
about how you gunned down 100 rebels, and I'll be like, dude, that was so sick. I was probably one of them. So,
that's
Chris, I'm
so
going to give you a moment to
sweet.
think. I have 2 volunteers already. We're going to get Dragon's Den, aka Anthony, in here, and he's going to tell us a totally cool, totally exaggerated, but totally truthful story of his awesome time at Battlefront Mauston. I forgot there's like a 5-second delay, so just act natural until Anthony gets here. Okay,
Don't
good.
act natural. It's
Anthony's
wrong.
here. Tell us your tells, man. Regale me.
I think the best part definitely was being one of the infected. I almost caused a team wipe towards the beginning. The players who were coming out first really weren't looking around a whole lot. I literally walked underneath them while they were in one of the towers, and I tagged 2 guys as they were coming down the staircase. Now, rewards come with risks. As I tagged them, they both slipped on the staircase, and one of them shot me in the face. It happens. But at least the other 2 were scared enough to know, hey, we need to check staircases before we go up anything now.
Yeah, and listen, I saw this happen, so I can
The
vouch.
cantina vibe, that was... Okay.
But thank you so much for your story, Anthony. I
Uh,
hope we get to have more zombie stuff in the future. 'Cause I remember watching you quite a bit. You were a very fun zombie, a very good zombie. So again, thank you so much for sharing. I think up next we
We have the
have
best zombies.
yeah we
We have the
do.
best infected.
We have all the best zombies, all the best infected. All right, Corin Vallis, who I believe this was Corin Vallis's first event, but I certainly saw him all over the place. So that man gets around. Corin,
Can you hear me?
yes, I can. Regale us with your totally truthful tale.
All right. So this happened right before the rebel flank when the Imperials didn't know that we were getting flanked by a respawn point by the rebels. Basically, I was in a firefight with a prone rebel about 10 feet away from me. I fell back and sliced my finger on the loner gun that 6mm Mandalorian had given me.
Ooh, call out.
And so I had fallen back. I was still okay. Somebody on my team had taken out the rebel and he was in bleed out. I got up, my hand covered in blood, my gun covered in blood, my pants covered in blood from my hand. And I walked over. This was caught by Imperial Command. I'm waiting for them to show me the video. But I walk over and me and this rebel had this intense execution tap out where I pinned him to the ground and said, "Look at what you did. You're not going anywhere after this. You're done." And I took him out, and I'm waiting for the video. But that was probably my favorite scene from Battlefront Mauston.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Believe it or not, I was also there and also saw that happen, so I can also vouch it was truthful. But I think that's also good proof that even at the Battlefronts, we always get good role play. We have all the best
And this
community
is-
and all the best role players.
You know, we never know what our players are going to do. We always think that we have a good idea of what's going to happen, and from an admin stance. But stuff like that is now I will to all complete a bloodborne pathogens course before we get onto the AO. So thank you, Corin,
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, now we got to start doing blood test.
We got our 30-minute briefing, and then we've got a 15-minute
Yeah.
bloodborne pathogens course.
I will be drawing blood. I am not trained. I've never done it before, but I'm really good at like learning as I go. So just be towards the end of the line, and I'm sure you'll be okay. Let's see who else wants to share their stories. Chef, I know you're in the audience because when I talked to you at the event, I decided to open the Discord back up to hear from you, and there he is, Lord Chef
There he is.
Baka. Actually, funny story. Because of Chef, we're actually introducing a new class for the first time. We're introducing the Chef class. They can only use the ladle. There he is. What's up, Lord
Yeah,
Chef?
Death Class. Let's
Yeah.
go.
All right, Chef. How you doing, man? I love hearing from you.
Doing well. All rested up from our trip back. Our 16 hours.
Whoop
It's a
whoop.
beautiful drive. It was
Wonderful.
awesome. It was totally worth it.
I'm glad.
Yeah, it was. So, Chris, as you were saying, you were wondering why everybody was able to perform at the night game so well. And I think it's because people were well fed.
I agree. 100%.
That's what I'm saying. They weren't able, they were able to just concentrate and being a soldier, come in, get some food, get back out there. And it was so much fun. That was my, moment of the whole event, is providing for all the troops and just having fun doing it.
I tell you what, that food
Yeah, I think
was
that's one
good.
thing you don't get anywhere else, man. Like, say what you will about Mill Sims and anything else. It's like people are eating beef jerkies and maybe an MRE once every 36 hours. We eat well at Galactic
Yeah.
Civil War
Sure do.
due to our chefs, cooks, and everyone else who helps make that stuff happen. You guys are phenomenal.
Listen, I wasn't even hungry,
Yeah,
and this man gave me a
thank you.
bowl of food, and I ate all of it. So, it just speaks to
Yeah,
his
it all
abilities.
turned out, had a little bit of problem getting it out on time, but I think because I provided our troops with rations, it kind of had the rebels a little hungry, fighting, for a little bit more. It kind of timed out right. Luckily, with other guys' help, I was able to use his power generators and get everything up and going. And man, everything turned out so well. It was
Yeah.
so good.
All
So
right.
good and so much fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chef. It is always amazing to hear from you. I look forward to seeing you play out the Chef class at future events, and I hope you keep on coming. 'Cause you're
Thanks,
great.
guys. Thank you all so much for doing what you're doing. I believe in y'all. Y'all are doing great. Keep up the great work, man. And may the force be with you.
Thank you. You as well. All right. Yeah, you can all thank Chef for us opening the Discord platform up, because I figured, I haven't recorded an episode in about a month, and this is a special event debriefing, so why not get everybody in here? We got someone else raising their hand. Now, Chris, when Sloan gets in here, he has no stories because he's a nerd and didn't come to the event. So we're just going to make fun of
He
him.
didn't even come to the event.
Look
Yeah,
at him.
what a
He wasn't
nerd.
there. He didn't come to the event. Point and laugh.
yes, go
he
on.
he missed out.
Doesn't even know where Wisconsin
Missed
is.
out.
Doesn't
All
even
out
know
of
what
your
beer
system.
cheese soup is.
Yeah, he didn't get to have the
I don't even have
Wisconsin
anything to say.
cheese. He didn't have
I
Lord
don't-
Chef's food. His first event was a Battlefront event, but he couldn't be bothered to come to the last Battlefront event. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, no droids there neither.
Yeah,
What's going on?
What happened to that,
What's
Sloan?
happening with that?
Wow, you're surprised.
Sloan.
You're surprised that the droid technician didn't show up to the event with no droids.
It's strange.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got to bring the droids. And also, yes, there is cheese soup, Leon. It's the most amazing thing ever. Listen, not only did you miss
have
out on a
any
good
idea
event,
How difficult it is to haul Betty's boxy bum all the way just to a 2-hour drive.
so,
You want me to take her all the way up to Wisconsin?
yup,
Yes.
No.
yup.
No.
Vale's Edge, you're going to
If
be there,
willing
right?
to send the forklift and someone certified to use it, then maybe.
Vale's Edge, you're going to be there, right?
Yeah, you got to take Betty
Yeah.
somewhere nice.
Look, I'm gonna try Vale's Edge, all right? I'll definitely be anything at Rhaegor. I'll be at. That's my home planet.
Yeah, it's
that's
in your
my turf.
backyard, nerd. Of course you'll be there.
Yes, it's 2 hours
Yeah.
away. I can walk there.
We're going to make it up to Vale's Edge.
Yeah, you gotta make the Vale's Edge. Let's
Yeah,
get
really
Betty
good
in here.
time.
Betty, why don't
I
we
will
ask Sloan
try.
together why he's not taking you to Vale's Edge?
Wait, is Betty in the chat? Oh my god, she is.
Yeah, why isn't she? Okay, here we go. Family reunion. We've gotten so off the rails now, but who cares? It's good. It's good podcasting. Why don't we?
Don't
yeah.
add her to.
No, why don't I want you to explain to her why you don't take her anywhere nice?
Because I don't like her. I mean, I don't know what other answer you expected. You think you're putting me on the spot here? I don't like the droid. I'm stuck with the droid.
And you say stuff like that, and you wonder why she ends up in other people's custody every event. Where is your mic? I think the gonk droid's gone silent, but you know what? That's okay.
I can hear her screaming up in her room right now.
Where's my mic?
I think Sloan
Took
has
away my vocabulator.
he sliced into
Yeah,
it
I
and
mean-
removed the vocalizer. Yeah.
I just
He was
want
just
everyone
in
in the
here
audience
going,
to know
gong,
that I had
gong,
nothing to say. I had nothing to add to this podcast. He just told me to raise my hand so he could make fun of me.
Yep. And thank you so much for letting me make fun of you.
Well, thank you
Goodbye.
for coming.
I'm gonna leave Betty here, and just
Ciao.
when she fixes her mic, she'll start talking, and it'll surprise and scare me a little bit.
Gong,
Gonk. Yeah, come to
gong,
Vale's
crunching
Edge.
noises.
Everybody come to Vale's Edge. Listen, we're doing one event a year now, so if you miss out on our one big event, you better hope we do some more planetary garrisons. And if you're not sold, 3 days of nonstop Star Wars action, or not action, depending on the kind of character you are. Not only is it 3 days, but it's at Action Sports. We've already talked about is an amazing field and getting better. Not only that, but we're gonna have some way cool new tech. It always baffles me to see the actual things people invent and create for this LARP of all things. We had one of our admins mentioned on a whim wanting the ability to have a tracker beacon without a physical beacon. You just on your phone pick a point on a map and hit, copy. You send that link to other people, they open it up and they hit start tracking, and they have like a little hot cold detector as they get closer to that GPS coordinate. And then somebody made that. So we have all the coolest stuff, all the best players, all the best
All
role
the
players.
cool stuff.
We have all the coolest stuff. So you're gonna want to be there. Not only that, let's talk about the cantina for a second. Last night, and let me tell you, Galactic Civil War people, my fellow role players, my fellow LARPers, I was invited to a cantina debut. I did not know what this was going in. It was a local friend who was at Planetary Garrison Nox Prime. I knew from that he really enjoyed doing a cantina and wanted to do another one, but due to life events, they weren't able to attend future events. So I was kind of surprised when they said they were doing a cantina debut for their new concept. I drive an hour out to this dude's house, and when I pulled up, they're taking cantina to the next level. First off, they have this huge barrack-sized.
Hello?
Oh, hello.
Hello.
We got it. Sloan came up and helped me. It's my phone though.
It's been set free.
Gong.
I've never actually heard your voice. This is weird. I only ever heard you gonk.
Have you actually met me outside of the gonk?
Or maybe I have, and I just didn't recognize it was you. I didn't recognize you without the box.
It's
gotta
okay,
look
as
at
soon
the
as I get
feet.
out of the box, people just stare at me.
They're wondering where the box went. Well, Sloan's gone, but we wanted to know why he doesn't take you anywhere nice and why he's not taking you to Vale's Edge.
He doesn't treat droids with equal rights.
Oh. Wow. We here at GCW, we love our droids. That's undeniable. So, that may not go over well for
I'm
Sloan.
actually looking to put a bounty on him next event if possible.
I'll double the
If I can
bounty.
do that.
Whatever you put in, I'll double. So.
Oh, perfect. I actually carry Sloan's money every event, so I'm thinking I'll just use it against him.
Use his own money to put a bounty on him. Fantastic.
All right. So now if he does come to Vale's Edge, he's just going to get hunted. Cool. Sounds good. I'm sure that'll motivate him to be there entirely. Gabby said, "It's okay, Betty. We will always come get you and take you." Gabby can do that. No offense. I'm not going to drive 13 hours to come pick you up and then drive 17 to the event. But Sloan will.
Not a real fan.
Yeah.
Fake fan.
Well, don't worry. Sloan
Big
will.
fan.
Or tell you what, Athens, Cricket is right there. I'm sure Cricket can come get you. So we'll ask Cricket after the show if he wants to come pick you up. But thank you, Betty, for helping us bully your brother. I'm gonna put you back in the audience now. Farewell, and may
Sounds
the force
good.
be with you. All right, that worked out like I thought it would. I did forget, and it did scare me. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the Cantina debut. I have pictures in the admin chat. I'm gonna put them into probably media when this is done. But again, full size barrack size tent with tables and chairs that looked really nice. They had a custom built bar that and they had this really cool custom built. You know, in Star Wars in the canteens, you always see like the craziest Jules Verne looking contraptions behind the bar where the drinks are brewing and being made. They made that, and it was glowing and it had dry ice letting steam off. Coolest thing ever. And we were served a like 5-course meal of different entrees and appetizers and desserts. And we did a drink tasting full of like their own custom made beverages. If you're a fan of ginger beer, like I am, again, all non alcoholic, you'll love it. If you're not a fan of ginger beer, they have something else you'll love. So, holy crap. Talking about taking cantinas to the next level. I'll share these photos in media after the show, but they're looking at coming to the next Nox Prime Planetary Garrison. And they're also looking at coming to Vale's Edge. So, possibly at Vale's Edge, you will see the cantina taken to a whole nother level.
What do we say that was going to be the Imperial Lounge, right? Is it
Well,
Imperials only?
funny you mentioned that.
Vale's
because
Edge, I think.
apparently what they showed us was only half of what they had wanted to do and planned. They're going to have a VIP section as well. They're going to have a droid DJ in the corner. I don't want to oversell it, but it changes your life forever.
Yeah, there it is. Dank Ferrick, the Patreon Lounge is now in play. You guys asked, and now you'll receive.
Yeah, a Patreon lounge with special snacks. That again, the same server droid comes by with a charcuterie board serving you.
Now remember, at Galactic Civil War, it'll never be pay to win, but it will be pay to be comfortable.
Yeah.
So think about that.
Hey, we'll say I don't remember the tiers, but we'll say like the second highest tier gets you access to the premium platinum.
You ready for this? You ready for this hot info?
I'm ready.
For Vale's Edge.
I'm ready.
For our Patreons. Patreon only porta potty.
Someone did just ask if the lounge has a flushable toilet. I think a Patreon only porta potty could be the best way to get more Patreon supporters and also give back to those supporters with a usable toilet.
Right. So, for every 10 Patreons that we have, we will order additional Patreon porta potty and assign you to a specific Patreon porta potty. So we know that they'll be in fantastic condition. Yeah, we know who's messing them. You're gonna have to scan your skirmish chip before you go in. When you check in, check out.
Listen, this is all canon. Chris said it, so it's happening.
No, Vale's Edge. We will have much more porta potties. Actually, in the Imperial camp, we're gonna have porta potties there. The field doesn't know it yet, but we're dropping additional porta potties just in the Imperial camp.
What the heck,
give
man?
that Imperial? Hey, rebels poop in the woods. It's a thing. It's canon. So
we sure were.
Enjoy.
Chat's going so fast. Yes, thank you, Gabby. They also, for the cantina, will have an oxygen bar. If you're like me and didn't know what that is, apparently it's something athletes really love, where it's basically just pure concentrated oxygen to re-oxygenate you to be running around. But this oxygen...
Your red blood cells,
Yeah, your red blood cells, or your metachlorians if you're a Jedi. And this oxygen is flavored, so like it's not bad for you. It's actually very good for you. But you know, it's also very similar to like we see the hookah bars in Jabba's palace. So the cantina is gonna have a flavored oxygen bar. Talk about a step up from what we're used to. Not that what we've had in the past is bad by any means, but if when this thing comes together, and I've seen it, I was there in person. You might not believe me because you've not seen it, but I was there. I was eating the chicken burrito and the pulled brisket. It was amazing. You gotta believe me.
You gotta believe me. That's real life.
I swear, I'll post the photos eventually after the show. But so that will hopefully be at Vale's Edge. Because the coolest part about all of it to me was he said every bit of it could be taken down and transported. So that's crazy. He wants to do the Florida event as well because it's pretty close to him. But hey, we might have like the coolest cantina ever. other LARPs are going to be like, dang, those GCW guys got it going on. They have an oxygen bar, porta potties, and a flushable toilet in their Patreon lounge. We should go subscribe to the GCW Patreon. All right, we've gotten. I forgot what I was even talking about. Yeah, Gabby, put a photo there. Put a photo in the chat for the people. Let them see this. Let them see what they could be living in. I will tell you right now, if you're a Mandalorian in full armor, good luck sitting down in one of those chairs. But there is a bar. And standing at the bar is very swarzy. Anyone that's been to Disney World knows Oba's Cantina is like 80% standing room only. So just get used to that. There was a couch too. They had a couch in there. So anyways, hey, still keep on raising your hands, telling your stories. In the meantime, Chris, why don't you share a cool story with me while we let some people raise their hands?
Lots of cool stories.
Yeah.
Lots of cool stories, but I'll tell one that will be relevant for future events. So for anybody here who hasn't been to a main LARP event, this will kind of feed into that, because there was a situation that played out where I failed a lot until I succeeded. Okay. So there was a group of rebels moving through the woods with minimal resistance. It was me and a few other Imperials. We got ambushed. We died. But we were able, before we died, we were able to capture a respawn point. And at Vale's Edge and other full story LARP events, the Imperials can utilize skirmish control points in a way that they can respawn at them, and they're the only ones that can respawn at them. And this is what gives the Imperial Army that additional factor of persistence and extra danger when you're encountering them, because if you haven't completely pushed them out of an area, they'll just keep coming after you. So there was a group of rebels moving through wood, taking out different Imperial targets, but then after respawning a couple times, I was able to come up behind that very rebel group that had taken me out twice and eliminate 4 of those rebel troopers who had been pushing through the woods to their next objective. But like I said, that's one of those things that is part of our design of the main story LARP, is how do you make the Imperial Army have a greater presence? Well, you give them the ability to hold territory and utilize that territory to their advantage, right? So having those control points, being able to respawn at them. Now, it's not every single skirmish device on the map that will be that, but we're working on a way to easily identify those points for both Imperials and Rebels and anybody else that is around, so that they know, hey, if the Empire controls that, it could be bad for us, or it could be good if we're Imperials, right? And utilize that as a respawn point to get back into the game faster, because that's one of the things you hear from some of the players in the game who are like, man, I really had a great time, but it sucked like crawling all over the rock and getting back into the fight. And I was like, there was a respawn point like right there.
Yeah.
Like you didn't need to walk half a mile to get back into the game. Like we own that. You can respawn there. And that's one of those things that it takes time, because when we throw the handbook of Galactic Civil War to a new player, or we hand it to them and they're like, this is Galactic Civil War. Most come, they buy a ticket, they show up to the event, they get the briefing, and then they go, that was great, but I wish this would have happened. And then you hear a lot of that of like, well, this is a thing, or they have suggestions and we're like, that's already a thing. And so we need to do a better job as admin of making it more transparent, and also giving more resources to the players to make it more digestible, right? Because it's a LARP, there's going to be a lot of rules, but we want to make it as streamlined as possible.
Yeah.
So having that ability to respawn at a select control point allowed me to take out this group of rebels that I wouldn't have had the ability to do. And going into the LARPs later on, it's still going to be a thing. It's still going to be a factor, but it's what gives the Empire that additional force multiplier.
And I'll say I think that's a very good point, because I think sometimes we do struggle with like, how long should our briefing be? how much should we trust the players to read into it ahead of times? I know we kind of stopped briefing like class specifics. You need to know your own class. We can't be going over it every time. So I think having stuff be kind of obvious really helps. Or stuff like the Imperial respawns, that can be talked about at the Imperial briefing. Us rebels will figure it out once we realize you guys are popping up in areas. And we did figure out, because I was in that group of rebels, like, oh crap, they have a respawn like right over there, don't they? And that culminated in you shooting me in the head, and I died. I will say that's my cool moment from Battlefront Mauston was when you came up behind us. I think you probably knew we were hiding behind that berm when you took us all out, didn't you? Because
Yeah, that was like one of the like I had seen you guys out of the corner of my eye, but I just pretended like I was like just not aware of what was going on. And the second I crossed the threshold of a tree, I was already up and firing on you guys. So it was like one of the things you guys were waiting for me to get closer, but I was already ready to engage.
yeah, so I popped out of my cover and fired 4 rounds, and I think you have like a force field because I watched all 4 BBs like just direct spread away from you, and then before I could react, you had put one on my head, so I was dead. But anyway, we got
Yeah,
someone raising their hand, so we're gonna get.
I was
Uber the
telling you
Ewok.
before. I was telling you before, it was just because I was so winded and I was just putting a lot of air out, so
Yeah.
the BBs were just deflecting around that. It's not for sensitivity, promise.
Yep. Well, hello,
Okay, can
Uber the
you-
Ewok. We can hear you.
Okay, so I just wanted to share a story. It was when me and Gadge were being the VIP high value target for the last round. And that was just a really fun like RP scenario. We were both dressed up in our super fancy like senator type clothes, and so we were waiting. The Empire was supposed to get us off the planet because things had gotten very very battle oriented and we needed to get safely off the planet. So we were waiting there for the Empire, and we had a little BB model droid and also like that Porg, and it was a really fun just atmosphere. And then when the the Empire came around the corner, it was, I think, Wyvern from Perla and Pilsuv in their group, and they sent a few of the people with us to head back. But first they had to back to the senator from Tatooine because our ship had crashed while we were trying to get out, and we were injured. But overall, we went all the way back to the Imperial base and kept stopping and being like, "Ooh, what's this like?" And he's like, "Oh, this is so much greener than Tatooine. Like, it looks like you could eat anything around here." And Wyvern and the other members of our escort were like, "Don't eat that. Like, don't eat that mushroom there." And we're like, "Oh, but it looks like so delicious." And we're like, "This looks like it'd be good in a salad." Like, ooh, yum. And it was just really, really
Right.
funny as we were going. And eventually they got us to the spaceport and safely off planet. But I felt like that was a really fun quest. And there was a lot of fun roleplay.
That's awesome. We always do, like, you guys always do a really good job of interjecting that role play and that fun character interaction into the most unlikely of spaces. So thank you so much, Uba, for sharing your story, and thank you for being one of our best NPCs. So may the force be with you. I think we're about at an hour and a half. We do need to start wrapping up because we have a Planetary Garrison Regorgor meeting right after this. I had meant to go on a little bit longer and actually talk about Regor, but we kind of hit time sooner than I thought we would. So we'll put a last call out if anyone wants to come up here and say anything. Otherwise, I'm going to slowly start wrapping up. Coming up in... I will get to have the exact date right now. We will have Planetary Garrison Regor. That is November 1st at 878 Airsoft. What is a one-day Planetary Garrison event, but don't let that fool you. It will still be a phenomenal time. So come on out and be with us there. Right after that, in January, on the 17th and 18th, we will have Flames of the Rebellion. That one is down in Florida. Where exactly in Florida, I will tell you right No, it'll be at Wayne's World Paintball in
There you go.
Ocala. Great location, 80 acres of woods trails with multiple towns, villages, and solar structures. Listen, if you weren't at Flames of the Rebellion last year, you're gonna want to be at it this year. The Florida player base is phenomenal. Mac from Mind Games does a really good job with his events. And they already have an established player base down there, so don't worry. You're gonna be a good fit regardless. Because let me tell you, those guys can roleplay, and they sure love to do it. So head on down there and join them. And then, of course, coming up in April, the one we're all waiting for, Vale's Edge. 3 days. From April 10th to the 12th at Action Sports Wisconsin. What have I not already said? And I could say so much more. You're gonna.
I would just interchime on that, right? You gotta get your tickets now.
Yep.
First 100 are the ones that get that bonus credits and then get put into that sweet bonus raffle. Everyone else, unless you're an Imperial, you're kind of out on luck of getting any credits at all. So you want to be the first 100 to get your credits because it's 500 bonus credits. After that, the Imperials will get some credits for their Imperial bonuses, but everybody else is getting zilch, nada, like
Nothing.
Zippo.
We'll still
Nothing.
do costume submissions still, but
yeah, costume submissions, you get a little scratch, that will be there. But as far as just buying a ticket and getting credits for it, the Imperials are the only ones that get that. So, but the one thing that you were talking about for the Florida event, role playing, right? I'll just touch on this just for a hot second. Like you said, they're phenomenal role players, and that's one thing that Galactic Civil War has been growing more into is that role play aspect. At Battlefront, amazing role play, even though it wasn't a role playing specific event. It's a very combat focused event, but still, I got to see some really, really good role playing and some really good impromptu exchanges between players. And more than anything, there was a really good camaraderie, even on opposite sides, like lots of, hey, good shot, all this kind of stuff under each other's breaths. Just so we all know it was good, because at the LARP events, it can get a little serious, the hate between the rebels and the Imperials. It's all in jest, but it's still there. You still have that energy between each other. I'd like to see a little bit more of that, under our breaths, shaking each other's hands, tapping each other, fist bumps, all that good stuff. But in Florida, they've been LARPing for years. That's been a focus on a lot of their events. And especially when we're looking at Rager coming up in a couple of weeks, Evike is jumping in again. It sounds like they're going to have coverage of the event, which will be very huge for Galactic Civil War. So they'll have their crew out there. So if you're on the fence of getting out to 878, you are kind of wanting to go, not wanting to go, do it, because anything that you can do, any extra fill time you and your kit, is just going to be huge if Evike does push something off of their socials, because their socials phenomenal, right? You're talking hundreds of thousands of people looking at what they're doing, and if they're looking at covering something we're doing, we could see a very big influx of people coming to see what Galactic Civil War is about. So first would be Flames of the Rebellion, which is put on, like you said, Mind Game Productions, and then after that is the 3-day LARP, the 50-hour continuous event. So we could see tickets selling out pretty quickly. So I just want to make sure that all of our people been here a long time get your tickets now, because there's a chance that in a couple months there could be no tickets. So
for sure,
just think about that.
And yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Get those tickets for Rhaegar, get them for Flames of the Rebellion. It sounds so cliche to say, but know that I mean it every time. You don't want to miss these events. You really don't. It feels like every event we just have a different thing going on that's making it like, oh crap, I can't skip this one. Same thing with Rhaegar, with Flames of the Rebellion, with Vale's Edge. You're gonna want get those tickets earlier. Our community's growing, our player base is growing, and now that we're on Evike's map and they're covering our events, you're gonna want to get your tickets while you can. And let's be real, the raffle gets better every time. I'm to the point where I'm kind of mad I'm not a part of the raffle. So get that first 100 tickets, get some credits to start you on your way, or to help you on your journey, or just to line your pockets a bit more. 3 awesome events coming up. I'll be at all 3 of them. What's your excuse? Because I don't live close. But I do think that's where I can start wrapping it up. I feel like I have a million more things I want to say, cover, and do, but we don't have time. Unfortunate. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to get into thanking our sponsors and our Patreon supporters. Thank you to everyone that supports the GCW Patreon. That money goes to the event and making it better. It does not go to me, the podcast, or any one individual to buy dinner with. It goes towards making this whole shindig a lot cooler, a lot bigger, a lot better. I do apologize. I think my little Patreon supporter page is a little out of date. So if I don't say your name here, I'm sorry, and I do appreciate you. Big Burst, Joseph Jacobson, Daniel Corral, Greg Larson, John Pierce II, Ken Primavera, Odo Tadana, Athens Mylan, Kean Shea, Dakota R. Reynolds, Siegebreaker94, and Matthew House. Thank you so much for your support. Get ready for that VIP Patreon lounge with exclusive flushable toilet. It's totally happening. And thank you to our supporters at Skirmish. You already know they're heavily ingrained into our events. Thank you, Hefe's Airsoft. I have one of their AAPs in my cart right now. Thank you to Evike, who we're going to be seeing in person at Rhaegor, and they're going to have some cool stuff to give away. Thank you to 850 Armor Works, all those cool scouts and people you see in the Imperials. Yeah, they can thank 850 for all that cool armor. And thank you to DT Blaster Works. I think I've got one of his kits on every single gun I own. So definitely check those out. And to Kai Tech, take that experience and that blaster to the next level. I think that is the final step that I need to take.
Oh,
to
hold
really
on.
immerse myself.
There's one more sponsor that is added to that list that will be their stuff will be present at Vale's Edge,
Exclusive
which is Ace
announcement.
Tech.
Really?
Ace
That's
Tech
right.
has joined the sponsor. So huge shout out to them.
That's a
All
big
the
deal.
tracers and goody toys that they have. Some really cool products that will be ingrained into our events that they have donated. So
yeah, Ace
again,
Tech,
big
Ace
shout out
Tech's
to them.
awesome. I'm really excited about that one. I get them added to our banner. But again, thank you to our sponsors, our Patreon supporters, our listeners, our players, our volunteers. You guys all come together to make this an amazing event that has quite literally changed my life in every conceivable way. So thank you for that. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being you.